guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am back with my December plan with me. So before I show you what I'm going to do for December, I thought I would go ahead and do a quick flip through of November and how that went. So here is November, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize. My nails are a mess, but I wanted to get this filmed and I didn't have time to do them. So sorry about that. Anyway, so November, I still really like this intro page. I think that the font was a little bit divisive for people, but I really like it. It was fun to flip back to. This new setup where I kind of switched around my 4 categories here, I think actually worked really well. I found myself using this task section a lot more because I had more space to write things in, and I realized that I wasn't really needing to have much more than this for Happy Mail. So I'm going to keep this like this for December. I'm not going to change this at all because I think that worked really well. Memories and gratitude, I am going to keep this the same as well because I really do enjoy doing this. It's nice having a little bit of cursive practice. I'm actually using cursive over here too instead of doing all brush lettering. You can see I still have a couple that I need to fill in, and I've got a little bit more before the end of the month, so hopefully I'll be able to fill that all in. Oops. Next step, we have reading goals and tracking. Move that out of the way. So, reading goals, same as normal. I just really like that spread. Tracking, I was really happy that I had fewer things to track this month. I think some of the things that I had previously been tracking where I was just writing it in every day were making me feel like I was accomplishing more, but also making it so I didn't feel so bad about the things I wasn't doing. And so I want to keep this kind of short and sweet like I did for November. Goals, so money goals. Food, this one, you guys know I don't always fill in my money goals until the end of the month. However, this food one is definitely not making the cut. I just didn't feel like doing the math when I was like going back into my budget and doing the math and figuring out how much I've actually been spending. I've just been trying to be more cognizant of how much I'm spending and kind of keeping track of that, and it's definitely going better this month, so I'm just gonna not have this one. I am, however, going to keep this little saved box so that I know how much I actually put in or how much I have saved at the end of the month, and again, that's when I'll fill in at the end of the month. I am going to keep similar goals up here. I haven't entirely decided if I want to add any more, but this section at least is going to stay the same. It's really just this food section that I found not as helpful as I thought it would be, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So just a little bit of a change there. And then going ahead and doing a quick flip through of what we've got so far. So this was the second week of my vacation, which is why I've got the 1-page weekly. And I had these lovely stickers from Creas that I used to decorate Halloween. Not this particular sticker. This one actually came from a different Happy Mail, but all of these other little ones are from her Etsy shop, which I will link down below. Just a quick and dirty brain dump. So I separated into home, things I want to check out, and things I want to make. I've got a couple things going on them. This checkout one is more long-term, so it doesn't really bother me that I don't have anything checked off yet, but I am making a little bit of headway on some of these other ones. I also continued, I had this social media and fun section that I wanted to work on. I decided to make 5 goals that I want to get done before 2018. Now these are ones that are not necessarily things that I have a lot of agency over. For example, whether or not I actually reach 20,000 followers on Instagram or 10,000 on YouTube is not really up to me. I'm just going to keep putting out content, but I thought it would be a cool round number to hit before the end of the year, so I put it down. But things like, saving 1,000 euros, planning for Italy this summer, which I would like to do, but I'm not sure about. I would like to eventually launch a website. It's on my list. It's been on my list. We'll see if it happens. So these ones I actually do have some control over, but they were just goals, things, milestones, goals I'd like to reach before the end of the year. I have a little travel spread for my day trip to Paris that happened at the beginning of November, which was awesome. And if you guys don't follow The Boosted Journal, Riccardo, aka The Boosted Journal on YouTube and on Instagram, you definitely should because he is awesome. Next up, more dailies. I have a K-drama spread, so the series that I'm currently working on, and then the next one that I want to start. And because they're only one season and there are fairly few episodes, I actually decided to go ahead and track by episode. I have the continuation of my library loan spread, which you'll see my page threading down here, and I actually even have page threading on this one. Then back to work, so I have a full 2-page weekly, more dailies. I did a quick little tight spread because I don't know about you guys, but if you wear tights, I always find it really frustrating when the next season I'm like, I need more tights, but I can't remember where I bought them. I can't remember which ones I liked. Like, I know that I bought these and I like them, but I don't remember the size or what they were called or whatever. So I decided I've basically made the switch to only buying Calzedonia tights because I've tried them from a bunch of different stores and I've been really unhappy with the majority of them, except for the ones I get from Calzedonia, so that's why I labeled it Calzedonia tights. But to remember which size I have, for example, I got these sheer ones and these other opaque that were only a 30 weight or whatever. And I went back in to buy more tights for the winter, and the woman who worked there was like, oh yeah, that particular one ran small, so if you buy it again, you should probably buy up a size. So I just wrote that down. So I have like little notes and stuff. Anyway, just a little bit of information for me. Let's see, this is this week, so we are currently at Saturday the 18th, and if I am very industrious, I will hope to get this Plan With Me up tomorrow, the 19th. If not, it'll be up the 26th, so we shall see. So, standard weekly setup, back to dailies. We're not going to say that I was lazy. However, I kind of was. I wanted to do really quick headers, and when I do my full lettering, I don't usually have room for the actual date. So I decided to just do the quick little 3-4 letter headers like that, which it works. You know, I know what day it is. That's the important thing, I guess. So I've got up to today, and I've got one page for Sunday. So I did go ahead and count out my pages. So I decided, I actually counted, I double checked that I have the right number. So I have one spread for my weekly, 2 pages for dailies, an extra page for collections, weekly, 2 spreads for dailies, an extra page for collections, and we're at December, and I actually counted right this time. I'm so proud of myself. All right, so now we are up to December. Let's go ahead and take a look at what my plans are. So I did my little spread in here, and you guys, I've had a couple of people ask how I use this notebook. It's really just this random notebook that I got. I did a little cover on it here, and I've actually got, for example, this spread I'm done with, but I'm still using this page. I'm not done with this page. So actually, once I finish with stuff, you'll notice that I don't have any of my previous spreads in here. I use them to plan, and then I don't save them. I know some people who do like to save their planning pages like that, but I used to, and I realized that I didn't really ever look back at them for the most part because I could just look in my bullet journal. So I can't do a flip through of this R&D Bujo because it's basically just scratch paper that I keep in one place, if that makes sense. So anyway, have my little December setup here. I realized I went ahead and I did my first 3, and I realized that I skipped my intro page, so I went back and just did it to the right here. So my quote is going to be, "It is December and nobody asked if I was ready," by Sarah Kay. I believe it's an excerpt from a poem of hers. I think I've mentioned this before, I tend to find my quotes from Goodreads. They have like their whole quote section, and I basically just type in like December quotes, and then I go through and I see what I like, because that introduces me to, you know, different authors that I don't necessarily know a lot about, and it helps me find things that are I don't know, I enjoy literary quotes when I do my intro pages. So this was the quote I picked for this month. Because November had such a long quote, I decided to go really short for December. Really no other reason. I also tried to pick a different quote from last year, which I didn't actually double check this, but I'm like 95% sure I didn't actually use this quote. I think last year I might have done a Dr. Seuss quote. Anyway, so first is my intro page. Second is going to be my monthly with my 4 sections that I'm going to leave the same: memories, goals, finally reading, and then tracking. And I did do a little box here with the things I want to track. Basically going to be the same. I am actually adding one thing. I wanted to start doing bar classes. I think I mentioned this in a previous video that I've been really interested in doing like ballet for beginners, but as an adult. And I have been having a really hard time finding actual adult ballet classes. However, bar exists, and I know it's not the same thing at all. However, it does have the like stretching and flexibility and like that sort of training that you would get from a ballet class. So I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm actually going to hopefully try a class next week sometime, and my goal is then to go at least once a week, just so that I have, you know, something outside of my house, something that's not related to bullet journaling, that's not related to teaching, that's not related to the university, to kind of like get me out of my bubble a little bit, to help me de-stress a little bit. So that is going to go on my tracker. I'm going to have my money goals again, and you'll see I actually wrote down food and then realized as I was like going through the month that I didn't want to do it because it wasn't really useful. And I do have the little save section. Last up, I have the colors that I've chosen. So I have one Tombow color that I want to use. I have this guy, 837, which is like this nice rich burgundy. And because I'm currently obsessed with all things metallic and copper and bronze, I'm going to use these guys. So I have my 1.5 point copper Faber-Castell, and I also have my 1 point, so I think it's like the broad Uniball Signo in bronze, and I like that it's a little bit of a thicker pen. The only problem is this guy takes forever to dry, so I'm gonna have to be careful about that. And then finally, to round out and do smaller lettering, I have my two favorite small nib brush pens. So I have my Funosuke and my Pentel Touch. And I think it's really interesting as I was writing them down. The Funosuke is a little bit of a, like, it's almost like a charcoal gray black. Like it's a little bit of a lighter black. And I don't know if it's because I've used so much ink that it's getting, like that it's running out, or if it's just the color of black ink that they have in here. But you can tell that the Pentel is like a little bit of a richer black, whereas this one's a little bit of a like grayer black, if you will. So I have both of them out, so I'll see how that actually goes. All right, so let's get started. Oh, and before I do, I actually also am hoping at some point on some of these spreads to incorporate this, it's Moon Gold. It's a Fine Tech metallic watercolor palette. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it, and it might be kind of hard to do just because of drying time, so we will see, but I wanted to incorporate a little bit of this gold watercolor on some of my spreads. So now I will go ahead and time lapse you guys, and I'll come back at the end. December, there were so many things that went a little wonky, but you know what? That is okay. Like I always say, it's just for a month. So the quote, I ended up using the Copper Faber-Castell, my, what is this, 837 and the Foodnoske to give kind of this little effect. So I wasn't sure when I started how I actually wanted to write it. So for example, what style I was actually planning to go for. And I decided because, I don't know why, but for some reason December just felt like I should do the quote a little bit more normal, if you will, like a standard cursive style. I started doing that, and then I just kind of played around with a little bit of bouncy lettering for the red. I like the effect. I did kind of a weird spacing thing where I gave every other line, so I did basically 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. So in terms of how many squares I gave for each section of writing. And that's because normally when I do something like this, I do a much bigger style for the accent words and then smaller for the other. But because I ended up doing more or less regular cursive, it wasn't really necessary, but I feel like it works because I still have my accent words on the odd lines. Anyway, intro page, I was debating doing some kind of like a wreath or whatever because I know a lot of people do that and I do like the look of it. But in the end, I decided to just do a wash of that Moon Gold Pine-Tech and then do bouncy lettering with my Pentel sign pen because it's a tiny bit thinner it's a little bit of a thinner brush than the Foodnoske. So did that, and then I did a little bit of the copper on some areas, which you can see here. I went back over twice because I got a little bit too close to the black line and I wanted it to curve out a little bit more. But just a simple little header there. And to flip the page, I'm actually gonna go ahead and stick my paper in here. I'm pretty sure it's dry, but just in case. There we go. So next up, we have my monthly, and you guys will have seen that I completely screwed up because I looked at my November calendar to do the spacing, and somehow my brain did not skip in on this side. I just drew my marks on the far left, and so when I actually started going in, everything was one box over, but I did it on this side as if I were doing it the regular way. So white out to the rescue. Anyway, so got my little December Happy Mail January tasks and emails there. Pretty simple and easy. Memories. I wanted to do something here and I wasn't really sure what. I don't love the little star, but just something like vaguely festive. I don't know what I was going for here, guys. So gratitude, I will probably end up doing very similar to what I did for November, where I use a fountain pen to write and then some other pen to mark the numbers, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet, so I just wrote in gratitude and left it. Then I've got my reading goals. I had a bit of a brain fart and I switched these two sections. So I was I was so sure that it was start and end. And so I wrote it, and then I went to this one, I was like, wait a minute, what's this supposed to be? So I had to just switch those. So tracking, I have basically all of the same things, except like I mentioned before, I'm adding in bar because I want to start doing that once a week. And I also still have my manual alphabet watercoloring challenge because it's halfway through the month and I just finished J yesterday. So there's no way I'm going to finish this month. I have a feeling I'm going to have a couple other days that I don't get to doing one. So I'm going to give myself through December. I do still want to finish it. And it's a challenge I set for myself. No one but me cares that it's going to take me longer than a month to do it. So I just wanted to have that still on my trackers so that I would be motivated to finish. Next up, I have my money goals. So I left a small section because I usually don't have a ton month to month that I'm actively working on, just to kind of keep it to a minimum so I don't get overwhelmed. I did add in the saved one. I just moved it up so that I had a little bit of extra space here. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to draw or do some kind of a quote. And you guys will see I ended up doing a quote just to kind of fill up the space and to help motivate me, basically. So that is December. Pretty simple. I went with kind of festive wintry colors, but I didn't really do anything else. No stickers this month, no major doodles or anything like that, just kind of the simple copper, red, and black look. And I have to say, I really like how it turned out. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. And if you guys are curious in any of the things that I mentioned during the video, as always, they are linked down below in the description box. I'll try and make sure I go back through and link everybody that I need to be linking. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.